Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Dave, and this is Real Reactions, where we go over some of the craziest, wildest, mind-bending reels available on TikTok and Insta today. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let's get into it.
She identifies as a Cancer.
Would you believe me if I told you that all of the stars and planets that we see that are presented to us from the space agencies around the world are to some degree falsified and inaccurate? Because if we take a Nikon P1000, which was aptly named the Globe Buster, we can quickly see how close the stars are because we can zoom in on them in such great detail, and they actually look like sound and light in the etheric waters above, and not like a physical ball of gas and fire. And the planets don't even look like physical planets, they look metaphysical. What about the local sun that we can clearly see in front of clouds? Is this just a facade? Of course it's a facade, because I'm doing my flat earth magic spells on these videos, just like I do with all of my videos, even though we can see the sun literally moving in between clouds all throughout the day. I've seen this with my own eyes myself, countless times. So can you tell me how this is possible if the sun is 93 million miles away and in outer space? I'll tell you how it's possible. It's just a bunch of pointless light refraction happening for no apparent reason, and the light being scattered in every which direction. Can we make an equation for this refraction that's going on? Or is it just completely made up, like this entire video? But did you see how you can see stars through the moon and how it looks completely transparent at night, even though this was for entertainment purposes only?
Yeah, I don't know about this guy. I'm not really a flat earther. Do me a favor, put it in the comment section. Let's keep it anonymous in a way. Put an F if you believe that the flat earth is true. Put a G if you think that the earth is round. And put an I if you don't know. So F for flat, G for globe, I for I don't know. Because I really am a globe person. But every once in a while, I'll catch a flat earth video that'll make me think. Anyways, let's see what happens here in the comment section.
This clip is quite the cliffhanger, literally. I don't know what's going on here. It looks like the baby mama's doing a Michael Jackson style, hanging the baby over the balcony, but this one's hanging off the twig and a stick, and the stakes are higher because there's a bunch of alligator crocodiles below that seem like they would chomp it up. I don't know if the mom was trying to force the baby to grab that duck that unfortunately gets consumed by these critters in the water.
Yeah, it looks like the baby was supposed to go for the duck, but maybe that's something the mom should have done. That was almost the end for that little baby monkey.
Stop. Like, there is literally no way. It's not stopping. I'm hoping the camera gets it because I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Is it Nebula?
No.
Well, what does it sound like?
You. It sounds like you.
As Morgan investigates strange sounds, a voice repeatedly whispers her name, making it clear that something is trying to get her attention. At one point, she hears, "Morgan."
Okay, it's just Nebula upstairs up there.
In the clip, you can hear Morgan questioning if someone's there, and then that eerie, "Morgan, that's not me," sends chills down your spine. People in the comments are calling it a mimic, a spirit that copies voices to create confusion and fear. One viewer shared, "I heard it too, and I'd be out of that house so fast." Everyone's telling her to ignore it because fear only makes it stronger.
What was it?
Jesus.
My God. It was under the table.
That thing's full.
That's heavy. Oh my God.
People are sharing their advice, from cleansing rituals to just getting out of the house.
I'm sorry, these videos are just way too easy to fake. I mean, just anybody could fake this. It takes nothing to fake this.
Lady Gaga just released a new music video, and this is dark. It's actually about her confronting her inner demons and how accepting these internal struggles is essential to her identity. So when the music video starts, we see a lot of versions of her in this music video. So first we see her on top of a car, and she is clearly struggling, trying to reach the person inside of the car that she's on. Inside, we see that it's her dark side or her demons. She is then pulled off of it by another version of her. She chases after her, and then she's trapped inside of this room. I don't really know what this part means, but after this scene is when it starts to get weird. This is when she confronts the demon in person. So there's this dramatic windstorm where she starts dancing in and she throws up this black goo. Now, before we continue, I noticed this same scene in one of Justin Timberlake's music video. This demon throws up the same looking goo onto him, and in this one, the demon throws it up, she's laying down in it, and then she looks up to the demon, embraces it, and then realizes it's actually her, and then she freaks out and runs away. Well, a lot is going on in this music video. I'm curious to know what you guys think about it.
Everybody's got their inner demons. And I don't know if this is just supposed to be an outwardly artistic expression of that or what. But this black goo stuff seems to be a new thing that keeps cropping up. I don't know. I'm going to keep my eye on it.
What if I told you there are suburbs underground, carefully constructed towns controlled by a covert agency where the residents have no idea what they're a part of? These people didn't get there by accident. They were brought in as children, taken from orphanages around the world, and adopted by covert agents under the guise of giving them new lives. The thing is, they were too young to remember their real origins, but the agency didn't just build these towns for containment. They built them to run experiments. Once the artificial night comes, creatures are released into the towns. These aren't animals or escaped lab experiments. They're engineered predators designed to prey on the population, testing how people respond under extreme stress and fear beyond anything you could imagine. Twisted biological hybrids of Earth's most dangerous predators, the people have adapted into fierce hunters as a result of their environment. What if I told...
That sounds like a really cool horror movie to me. But honestly, there's no basis for this story, but I wouldn't put something like this past governments of the world. But it does sound like a really cool movie. Somebody should turn that into a movie.
We're talking about the same government that funded a war against Marxists by selling crack in black communities in order to break up the black family and disparage a whole community. It's the same government that brought over a bunch of Nazis after World War II and had them run different areas of our government. The same government that took people, its own citizens, and did drug testing on them to psychologically torture them and allow them to be manipulated into confessing things during interrogations. This has nothing to do with Democrat versus Republican, progressive versus conservative. This is we the people versus those that seek to control and manipulate us. They pit us against each other because they know that we have more in common with each other than we ever will with them. And unless they can divide us, they'll never be able to control us. It's high time that we band together, stop fighting amongst ourselves, and start looking at the people that seek to destroy us. We're talking about this.
See, this is what I'm saying in the beginning of that video. This is why I wouldn't really put anything past the governments of the world, because they've already proven that they will treat people as if they're not human beings and they're lab subjects. Just make sure that you're vetting the information that you get from mainstream sources.
Airplanes debunk the globe. Airplanes maintain rigidity in space using something called a 3-axis gimbaled gyroscope. Now remember, the gyroscope maintains inertia not dependent on the Earth's orientation, but its own position in space. So as the rotor in the center spins, it maintains its own inertial reference frame. Notice, before the rotor is spinning, you're spinning around and it's spinning with you. But as soon as you gear this up and get it working in its inertial reference frame, all of a sudden now you are spinning around it. On this 3-axis gimbal, it allows that to maintain rigidity in space, staying exactly where it was when it began spinning. The only way that it can move is when a force acts upon it. Now, in this 3-point gimbal, it's going to maintain that exact location, that exact inertial reference frame. As he's driving the car, you see how he's driving around it. It's going to stay in that same rigidity in space. Now, for those of you who believe he's really in space, they actually got the physics right here. See how it's just flipping all around the gyroscope, but as soon as he gears it up and gets that rotor moving, now it's maintaining its rigidity in space as he moves it around. Now, I believe it's augmented reality because they say this is how they keep the ISS in orientation. But when you watch time-lapse ISS footage, if that were the case, then it would look nothing like this. The Earth would be behind you, then in front of you. Remember, pilots use this technology and don't have to account for curvature. They always maintain rigidity in space, showing that artificial horizon staying the same, using that same gimbal. Now look at this. Look at the orientation when you switch your reference frame. That plane is nose directly up into space. To really drive home this rigidity in space thing, if the Earth were a ball that was spinning daily, then you could get this thing going mechanically, and as long as it was still going, in 24 hours, this would do a 360-degree rotation. Does that happen? No. Airplane.
So more flat Earth stuff. The wind and the waters and everything on the Earth and in the atmosphere move with the Earth. So the environment of that gyroscope would be in that same environment. So I feel like that doesn't really prove anything because its environment is exactly the same as the Earth's environment as they're flying around a globe.
SRS Studios foundation is being poured right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a Bible in each corner of the studio for protection. When it gets studded out, we'll put scripture on every single stud so that the entire building is wrapped in scripture and protected. Here we go. Yeah, it's pretty real. SRS Studios.
It's a cool idea. It'd be interesting to see what it was like to walk into a building that's wrapped in scripture and has a Bible at every corner built into it. I wonder if you could feel a different sort of ambiance in there or not.
Do the demons of the marine kingdom breathe the same elements that the angels in heaven breathe? Well, we can just go ask Elon Musk's son. He named his son after the fifth element. And that's next on the trumpet. Elon Musk named his son after the fifth element that was removed from the periodic table. The fifth element: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Each one. Musk named his seventh child all of these letters right here combined. He's got an X on everything, but let's look at that one right there. Right here. Earth, water, air, fire, ether. Here are those elements drawn out: water, fire, earth, air, ether. I know it looks like the Star of David, and it is often represented by a hexagram or the Star of David with a dot in the middle. It's that name right there. These people have determined that it's an Elven spelling for AI and that it means love, but it's Aether. His name has an A12 in it, and that says Archangel, and he's got 12 kids. That many. In mythology, Aether might symbolize the divine or heavenly realms, while the ocean could represent the earthly or chaotic. This concept could explore the relationship between heaven and earth, perhaps through the stories of gods interacting with the oceans or sea creatures. They used to believe that the earth was moving through Aether. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. As above, so below. That's why there's one triangle pointing up and one triangle pointing down. As above, so below. In Greek mythology, Aether was the personification of the bright upper sky around Mount Olympus. He was also the son of darkness and night, and the brother of day. In ancient and medieval science, Aether was the material that filled the universe beyond the terrestrial sphere. That's going to be talking about the waters that are outside of the firmament. And I know that the water in the deep is evil and the marine kingdom exists. Because in the end times, the beast will rise up out of the sea. Isaiah 27:1. In that day the Lord, with his sore and great and strong sword, shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. And after that happens, the new Jerusalem descends out of the sky. It's the new heaven and the new earth, and they are coming down from God out of heaven. And there is no more sea. Bye-bye. You know me and my family love you, so like and follow the trumpet for more.
You know, Elon Musk appears to be a really cool and very intelligent and also funny and likable guy. And I like him for what I can see of him. And I think it's amazing what he's been able to accomplish. I mean, SpaceX catching rockets out of the sky, self-driving cars, really pushing the electric car market forward, although I'm a gas-powered car kind of guy, and Neuralink, brain chips. So on the flip side of that, especially they mention his son here, I think we need to keep a close eye on Elon, because when have we seen somebody do so, and his involvement in the election as well. So I like Elon for what he's portrayed as and how he portrays himself, but I do wonder if there's something more going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. And I also think we need to keep an eye on his children, right? Not so much right now, but as they begin to take over what he's created. Because Elon seems really cool, but we don't really know much about his children or who they're going to become. And him naming this element after, or sorry, him naming his son after this fifth element that I'm really not too familiar with is an interesting play. I'm getting kind of sort of Antichrist vibes in that direction, right? So I don't know, just something to think about. Just something to think about. I completely forgot about the robots when I was talking about the potential Antichrist thing and just adding so much revolution to the earth. Sorry, let's keep going. I'm telling you, keep an eye on him. Just keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him. Don't just buy into everything you see. And another thing is, we also know that Elon takes inspiration from movies for a lot of what he creates. And there's that whole theory of in plain sight.
The world that we live in is full of beautiful and mysterious places to visit. From the amazing mountains of Machu Picchu to the ancient city of Bagan, it would take years traveling across the world just to get to know most of these places. However, in today's world, there's something that we can do to help us travel way faster and pinpoint the exact place that we want to go to, and that would be Google Earth. For the past few months, several YouTubers have been using Google Earth to find interesting places to visit, and then actually venturing into these places and sometimes coming face to face with the most mysterious things. This is the case with Desert Drifter, a YouTuber who's been doing this for quite a while now and just recently came across something truly fascinating. While searching for new places to visit on Google Earth, he came across this mysterious symbol on the ground, something that actually looks like an X marks the spot. Now thinking that this can't be something natural and sensing that there might be more to this place than meets the eye, he chose this particular spot to start his trip and explore the surroundings. Little did he know that he was in for a surprise.
All right, let's get rolling. Cool. Circle. There's another, it's like an inner circle, carrying rocks in the middle there.
Desert Drifter takes his drone out and notices how it's made with extreme precision, as if it's some sort of compass. Not only that, he realizes how it looks like a medicine wheel, something that Native American tribes used to build sometimes to align with astronomical phenomena, very similar to Stonehenge, but to this day, most of these wheels remain a mystery. By now, Desert Drifter starts realizing that this symbol might actually be pointing towards something, taking into consideration that the only horizon line that's visible is towards the west, and this is exactly where one of the spokes with the circular enclosure is pointed at.
I don't see anything, but I just remembered there are supposedly 2 petroglyph panels somewhere east of here. How curious would it be if those were in sort of perfect alignment with this structure?
Taking notes of the GPS coordinates, he drives over to this place to find out, and this is what happens. After driving for half an hour, Desert Drifter stops at the first cliff he finds where the symbol was pointed at, and for his surprise, he finds mysterious petroglyphs.
That's interesting.
Just to make sure that this is not some sort of coincidence, he continues on driving west to another cliff.
Huh. It's kind of weird. Kid you not, it's like, it's warm in there.
Now the thing is, to this day, it's a complete mystery to how this hand was carved into the stone wall. While some believe that these carvings were made by pregnant women giving birth, others state that this was most likely done using some sort of ancient technology that we have no knowledge of. Scattered throughout the world are numerous ancient sites that hint at the use of mysterious technologies, methods, and tools that remain largely unknown or misunderstood by modern researchers. What's really bizarre about this specific carving is the size. It doesn't look like a regular sized human hand. It looks like a giant one. Not only that, this is a human carving on sandstone made nowadays. The precision from both carvings is quite different. The carving in White Mountain is perfect. Taking into consideration that it was made thousands of years ago, there's something indeed haunting about it. The world that we live in is full of beautiful and mysterious...
That's a cool video. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it, but I definitely enjoyed watching it. There are just so many mysteries, and this is kind of another example of just kind of weird ancient mysteries showing that we really don't know the full truth of what was going on in the past on this earth. And honestly, that point right there is why I do this channel, and that point right there is why I'm so interested in this content.
Rihanna was trying to tell us about Diddy way back in the day.
The theory that Rihanna tried to send us a message about the music industry in 2016. The short film begins with Rihanna playing with children in a white room. In this first scene, the environment seems very welcoming and conveys a sense of peace. This lightness, the white room, and the children playing and smiling at Rihanna symbolize innocence, making us think this scene represents Rihanna's life before the music industry. In this scene, the children, now with more serious and frightened expressions, are shown walking backward as if being pulled toward a dark door. In the same hallway, Rihanna finds a key labeled R8, symbolizing her 8 studio albums. Suddenly, these two children transform into a child version of Rihanna. In the next scene, Rihanna appears in a room that looks like a studio with some musical instruments. Rihanna seems somewhat scared and confused about what's happening. She approaches and places her hands on an instrument, and dramatically, she starts acting as if possessed or controlled.
Try to
like a
warn us
puppet.
about the
Then,
industry, y'all.
the lights go out, and several men appear behind Rihanna as if they
Stay
represent
weird.
the music industry.
You know, I don't know about the claim of the video, but it would be nice if they would provide like an outline or an explanation of their videos that we could read and what they were trying to convey, because sometimes it's a little confusing. Maybe it's meant to be like that on purpose. Confusing, I mean. I don't know. I don't trust Hollywood.
What the fuck is happening in Appalachia?
Ever wonder why we don't whistle at night in Appalachia?
So when you're out there whistling in them, you were like, hey, ancient spirit, come play with my soul.
Whistling seems harmless, right? But here, it's like an invitation. They say,
I have a feeling the people in Appalachia are having a lot of fun with this TikTok trend.
The church has always taught we're going to be here for the tribulation. Until 1830, when a Scottish 15-year-old girl got sick with a fever and had a dream and said, oh, we get raptured out before the tribulation. And that's where it started. We're going to be here. What on earth is about to happen? We're about to head into trouble. Now think about it. If I was the devil, I would want all the Christians to believe, oh, you're going to get out of here before the trouble starts. Because then when it doesn't happen and trouble starts, what are they going to do? They're going to think, I wonder what else that preacher lied to me about. I quit, right? There's going to be a great falling away. The great falling away happens for 3.5 years when people realize, wow, I got lied to. And you did. And in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 2, it says, the day of Christ cannot come until there's a great falling away and the man of sin is revealed. When is the man of sin revealed? In the middle of the tribulation. When he sets up that image in the temple, that's when the Christians and the Jews realize, oh no, this is not the Christ. He's the bad guy. Before that, they're going to think he's a good guy. They're probably going to think he's the Christ. The Muslims are already looking for a guy. They've already got descriptions of him, and they say he's going to make a treaty with the Jews either for 7, 13, or 19 years. Well, we know it's going to be 7. We're going to be here. And this is how it happened. There's a 7-year period. In the middle, the treaty's broken, but then the temple is desolate for 2,300 days. That runs right on past 1,040. When they pray, you know, they put their head on the ground, and they push extra hard if they can, because they're trying to make a spot in their forehead of no circulation. You push down to cut the circulation off, and you do that over and over 5 times a day, they pray, you're supposed to. And after years and years of that, it gets a dark spot in their forehead. And so they think having a spot in your forehead is wonderful. That's a holy man. Wow, he prays a lot. And they're already being taught in their books that their Christ is going to come and require them to get a mark in their forehead, and they're going to line up to get that microchip, if it's a microchip or something. Please put one right here. They can't wait. That's a sign of dedication to who they think is going to be their Christ. The Christians are waiting for Christ. The Jews are waiting for the Messiah. The Buddhists are waiting for the 5th Buddha to come straighten out this mess. The Muslims are waiting for the 12th Imam, Mahdi, going to ride on a black horse. Everybody's looking for somebody to come straighten out this mess. It runs right past the time of the rapture. We're taken up out of here at the end of the 7 years. Then there's about 3 more years when there are 7 trumpet judgments and 7 vial judgments. Jesus' disciples asked him very clearly in Matthew 24, Mark 13, Luke 21, Lord, when are you coming? And what's the sign we should watch for? And he tells them, after the tribulation, the sun and the moon are going to go dark. Well, I think everybody's going to see that. Sun and the moon go dark. And then he's going to blow the trumpet and catch up his elect. Revelation 6:12, when the sun and the moon go dark. 10 times in the Bible. The Bible says in Acts 2:20 that the sun and the moon go dark before the great and terrible day of the Lord. Same thing in Joel chapter 2 and chapter 3. Well, if the sun and the moon go dark before the day of the Lord, and the sun and the moon go dark after the tribulation, and we get raptured out when the sun and the moon go dark, I mean, it's like, hello, it's a no-brainer. We get raptured out after the tribulation before the day of the Lord starts. The church has always...
First off, I'm curious about the Muslim belief. I don't know much about the Muslim religion. If you are a Muslim, is that true? Are Are you expecting a mark on your forehead from your Messiah? Is that even true? Second off, I would say this is going to be an opposite message of what most people are told. Look, nobody is really truly special. You have to make yourself special. And don't shy away from hard times, okay? Everybody goes through hard times, and often people go through them for a reason, and they shape who you are, your character. And that's usually a good thing in the end, okay? Now, some hard times are different from other hard times, but regardless of what those hard times are, if you can overcome them, then you will be somebody special. And that's a fact. If you can overcome them, you will be somebody special. You kind of have to earn that in a way. It's not just something you naturally are, at least not in my opinion, including myself. Whatever God you believe in, make sure you're doing your own research on that God and you connect with that God personally. Don't just listen to what the guy at the church says or what the guy on the street corner says or somebody else's interpretation of a passage. You need to have your own relationship with that God.
Do you guys remember when Elon Musk said, "You know, I know it's a really big stretch, but me and my team are really trying to reach Uranus. Me and my team really want to take humanity to Uranus. I know it's a big stretch, but that's the end goal." And it is a really big stretch. Because did we even actually land on the moon? So tell me how we can not know if we landed on the moon. But then we're going to go to Mars, and then all the other planets in our solar system, and make it to the edge of our solar system, and reach Uranus. Now perhaps he's just memeing all of us and trolling the entire world to get his little laughs and giggles. Or perhaps it's symbolic of them trying to ascend the soul system and reach God's domain without doing the good deeds. But of course, as always, this video was for entertainment purposes only, as are all of my videos. They are total satire. And I know it's a really big stretch, but you could consider the fact that this guy is not really who he says he is. Perhaps a reptilian overlord or something of the sort, trying to make it to Uranus. Do you guys remember?
I think we're going to end it right there. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. Do me a huge favor and like the video and subscribe if you like the content and you want to see another one. Later.